Andrew was the big one everyone feared. Listen to the pain and confusion of its victims.
It's devastating.
We're all
You lost
in the same
everything.
situation. We're all just losing it all.
We're trying to salvage what we can.
And that's it. We're lucky we're alive.
Looked like a bomb hit it. I've been in Vietnam and I seen demolition there, but I never seen this much demolition over there.
Just a few weeks after Andrew, Hurricane Iniki struck the island of Kauai with full force. Though people found shelter, almost a quarter of the homes and businesses were lost.
It's just devastating to see this place all. Everything's just gone.
It was the most powerful hurricane to hit Hawaii this century. The eye of the storm was 30 miles across. The island of Kauai is 30 miles across.
In both disasters, the Salvation Army was already on the scene. Supplies from all over the United States poured in, and the Army went to work.
This is one of about 13 distribution points, and it's the only one I think that the Salvation Army is operating right here. There are several others to the north and some to the south. What we're trying to do is operate a food service area over here for groceries. We have water, the mobile canteen, and a medical unit across the street that can handle just about any kind of medical problem that we might have.
In other communities, the Salvation Army took food, water, and supplies to where it was needed most. Each of the Salvation Army's 14 emergency disaster canteens were able to serve 2,000 people a day.
When we found them here, they were looking for someone to come and help, and we were the first ones on the spot, first ones ready to, hand them out a free bowl of soup, free cup of coffee, and everything in between.
We organized everybody, got them all together, got crews serving food, crews washing the kids, crews cleaning up, crews everything, so everything's running real smooth.
It was the same story of destruction and recovery on the island of Kauai. More hard work mingled with faith and hope.
Very little was spared the fury of the storm, and when it was gone, the rain beat down, pouring through the open structures, leaving what was left of people's possessions sodden, wet, and muddy. All communications were out, no electricity, and more serious, no water. Even before the hurricane hit, the Salvation Army was on duty. Officers, soldiers, and volunteers manned evacuation centers, offering food, shelter, and comfort to the victims of the storm. Home League women, working round the clock, fed volunteers, military, and homeless. Storerooms were emptied of food and clothing even before the supplies could reach the stricken island. 85 volunteers and officers provided assistance to over 3,000 people, and by the end of the day, almost 6,000 meals had been served to the victims of Iniki. Volunteers poured in to give assistance. Cadets and officers from across the territory rolled up their sleeves, working around the clock. Volunteers from the community offered everything from airplanes to canned goods. ARC trucks and personnel provided transportation and manpower. A mighty arm of humanity began to rise up to meet the immediate needs of the people. And by the end of the month, 104,284 volunteer hours had been recorded for 4,353 volunteers. 412,113 meals were served. 62,714 food boxes were distributed. Generators, medical supplies, camping gear, building supplies, water and ice, diapers, baby food, and formula. Everything was needed, and everything was supplied. A month has passed. Now that the initial phase of survival is completed, following the catastrophic impact of Hurricane Iniki, our relief focus has shifted to Kauai's long-term recovery. Rather than providing the basic elements of food, water, and immediate shelter to a large number of displaced persons, we move from a disaster mode to a more positive recovery mode to deliver much-needed services and support to people in their local communities, as close as possible to their homes. The Salvation Army plans to do this with an intensive but flexible community-based program aimed at restoring a sense of self-control and empowerment at the individual and family level. Called a No Frills program for Kauai's total recovery, this 100-day guided self-help effort will begin on October 9th and run through January 16th. The Kauai Recovery Program is based on a community development model derived from the Peace Corps experience and adapted to the Salvation Army's history of crisis intervention. The recovery program will feature a comprehensive range of social services emanating from 5 self-help support centers strategically located around the island. These camps at Hanapepe, Kaloa, Lahui, Kapa'a, and Kilauea in turn will be supported by a warehouse and communications based in Lahui and the Salvation Army's Divisional Relief Office in Honolulu. Designed for minimum overhead and maximum responsiveness, the self-help project will ensure that the outpouring of donations and gifts from across the country will be fully utilized by victims at the point of need and time of need. Staffed by 18 employees, 14 of whom will be on Kauai, the program will be assisted by 50 off-island volunteers. These on-the-spot volunteers, working in one-week shifts, will live in modest work camps, sleeping under tents and using community showers. It is a monumental job. Kauai needs our prayers. The officers and soldiers of Kauai, themselves victims, need our support and prayers. And we, like Nehemiah, will say, "The God of heaven will help us, and we, his servants, will rebuild these walls." We of the Salvation Army will raise our voices and sing the words, "O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, a shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home." With these assurances in our hearts and minds, we know that the Garden Island will bloom again.
Thanks to the generosity of people like you in San Diego County, the Salvation Army was able to ship thousands of pounds of food and clothing to Florida and Hawaii to help hundreds of thousands dig out and to start over. We appreciate your personal commitment and financial support, which helped us meet needs immediately. Without a lot of fanfare, the Salvation Army went to work because of your interest, your backing, and your faith in our ability to serve others. The Salvation Army will go on helping families in Florida and Hawaii, just as we help families in our own community recover from their personal emergencies, families without food or clothing or a place to call home. With your support, we will be there to help them, just as we are our friends in Florida and Hawaii. May God bless you for your compassion and love.